What's up, everybody? This is True Ballers Podcast. You got, as always, Abenz, myself, and we got a special guest tonight. Shout out Matt Anthony coming in from Let's Talk Sports. Hyped to have you here, man.
Bro, I appreciate, opportunity to come out and talk some ball with my boys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And we'll get Chris back here next time, but, excited to have you on. I wish there was a lot to talk about, but I feel like it's been a pretty quiet week with March Madness, everything. We'll talk about it. But, first being the New York Sports Talk podcast, that
the
you
New York
are
Knicks podcast guru.
always repping the Knicks, the Giants, which I'm a Jets fan, but all good. No harm, no foul. This is a ballers podcast. But anyway, so what do you, I want to know, what are you most hyped about this team? Because there's a lot to be excited about, but I think you could look at it from building up from the ground, kind of our young guys, RJ Barrett and Quickly, or you could look at it we got an all-star in Julius Randle. What are you most excited about right now?
I feel like I'm excited for what everybody's excited for, the future. The future is bright. So we have our young core, RJ, keep Quickly, build around Julius. And we got a lot of money to spend in free agency, whether we got to do things through the draft. We have a lot of draft capital. So I'm excited for the future with, competent management of the Knicks. We finally got some boys in management that's going to help us out, get to where we want to be. And that's, in the playoffs, contending for a title. Obviously, this year might not be the year we contend for a title, but at least we're in, we're in the playoff discussion and in the run. So that's what I'm excited for the future with the New York Knicks. Brand of basketball that I love watching. Couple years ago, it wasn't really like that. So I'm just happy we look good out there on the court.
Yeah, man. No, amen to that. I tried watching every game last year. Even last year was a little bit better than I would say 2-3 years ago. Like, it was hard to get me to even sit through a full game, because it's like, what are we doing here? But now I feel like we have a plan. We have like a direction. We can kind of see a light at the end of this long, horrific tunnel that we've been in. So,
definitely.
Super excited, bro.
Yeah, we have some infrastructure. We have a plan. Got some groundwork. Wasn't doing that with Fizdale. Not a good coach, in my opinion. Everybody was hype about him.
Tough situation for him. Like, honestly, getting Leon Rose in that front office, like, we'll talk about it in 10, 15 years after this. Like, if the Knicks continue doing what they're doing, which, we got to keep grinding. We're not there yet, but we'll be talking about that hire as probably, one of the main influencing factors of actually, turning shit around and getting competent people in our business, which, makes logical sense, but we just haven't done it yet, at least the past few years. So
yeah, absolutely.
Super excited, man. Can't wait. We talked about it a little bit before. Would love to get, I'm sure Abenz is still heated from last night's loss to the Nets. Another one where we needed Julius Randle to come up big at the end of a game. And it just makes me wonder, is he the guy? Can he be your closer on a winning championship caliber team? And
the answer,
my thought is no.
Is no. So, let me backtrack a little. I do like what the organization is doing right now. I think that we're actually building from the ground up, as you said. And I think Leon Rose was definitely a great addition. Our player development coaches, assistant coaches we're just developing the way we should be doing it. Trade deadline came, nothing came to the table. We didn't offset any assets. So I think we're becoming attractive to that superstar that says, you know what, I want to play for a team. And I think we're building a nice little team with chemistry. I saw Philadelphia did it. They got stars. I think RJ Barrett is becoming a star himself. But I think we're going to be able to attract that star player that says, you know what, I'm not going to have to do it all. This is actually a nice little tough team. They play defense all around. So kudos to Leon Rose and Tibbs, who I wasn't too high on, but Matt, you were very high on him this summer. And at the end of the day, Julius has brought us back to relevance. So, he's got to get some love too. But bringing you back to that point, I don't think he's the closer. I really don't. I think it was a tough shot. You know, it was contested. It was, hey, listen, it could have gone in. But I just feel like at the end of games, we don't have that guy that can go and get buckets. I see Alec Burks struggling out there. And it's just tough to watch that when I know that shouldn't be our go-to guy. I'd rather die with R.J. Barrett. I mean,
Bro,
but
I said that same thing last time about Alec Burks too. I was like, Alec Burks is the guy I see taking like half the shots in the fourth quarter in close games.
Hey,
But hey,
it happens.
but yeah, no, I you know what, Julius with Julius Randle, he's forever, honestly, because of this. Like, he's gonna be loved by Knicks fans
He's a Knicks
forever,
legend.
unless he does something crazy like go to the Nets or some stupid shit like that. But otherwise, people love him. I love him, and I really, if we do build upon this team, if we do get a nice free agent, it's gonna be tough to trade for someone without giving him up now. But if we can get a free agent or something like a Giannis one day, or like, that we were planning on, or like somebody like that at that caliber, I would love for Julius to stay on as the second or third guy on a team, because that, I think he more than proved that he can play that role.
Third option? The third option? I believe Julius Randle is a closer.
Second or third.
Oh, wait. He believes that he's a closer.
Yeah, we're talking about the same Julius Randle who took me. I mean, versus the Wizards. Did you see what he did versus the Wizards? When he took Roy Hachimari, whatever, off the dribble in his face. When he took two, Bradley Beal and the center that was coming over. I mean, took face. Bro, he's a closer. Just got to be in the right position.
But can he get that bucket at the end of the game?
He could definitely get the bucket.
Like the last bucket. Like, he's just a bucket getter. You know what I mean? Like, it's a difference between being able to score throughout the flow of the game and just needing one possession, one shot.
The clutch gene. The Kobe gene, the Kyrie gene.
I feel like we're attacking the new guest, Abenz. I don't like this.
He could close a game. All right. The man puts up numbers. All right. He could close out a game. And RJ too. A lot of people were disrespecting RJ. He shouldn't be taking the last shot. Give these boys some time. I mean, they're still young. You know what I'm saying? 26 and RJ, what, 20? Right? They barely touching the surface. Give JR some time. All right. It's his first year underneath Coach Tibbs. His first year, honestly, playing in this role. So give him a little bit of time to get adjusted. You feel me? We're only in April. All right. Julius Randle will be the closer on this team.
On this team, I agree. He will be the closer. And I would like to see RJ taking more of those shots rather than Alec Burks or kicking out for a Reggie Bullock 3 that is most likely a brick towards the end of the game. So as much as me and Abenz kind of made our amends with Reggie, but anyway, so yeah. But looking forward to this playoffs. What do you think? Do you think that the Knicks? Or let me rephrase it. What has to happen for the Knicks to win a round one series, Matt?
Hey, you want to take this? You want to take this right now?
Both of you take it. Go ahead.
Well, because I think me and Matt have talked about this in the past. He hosts Let's Talk Sports on W240, but that's neither here nor there. We talked about it. Our big man, Rob. That's what Clyde calls him. That's what I call him now. I think he's such an intricate piece, and I don't think the true Knick fan understands the value that Mitchell Robinson brings to the table, because it seems like when he's there and he's playing for us, he doesn't get tired. He's running up and down the court. He's making the big plays without needing the ball. And I just feel like that's why we're losing these close games right now. It's not just because we don't have a closer. I think if Mitch Robinson was in there, listen, it's not a lot of players that are going to be taking it to the rack. He's stayed away from foul trouble this year. And I just think he's our glue. So I think in order for us to be successful in the playoffs, albeit, we have some tough young guys. We got IQ, we got Alec Burks, who won through first through 3 quarters, even midway through the fourth. He's given us some points. We know what Julius is going to do. RJ's showing out for us this year.
Yep.
But we don't have that centerpiece. I don't think we could rely on Taj Gibson or our boy, the junkyard dog, Nerlens Noel, who's playing very tough. I just don't think we can rely on them in a playoff series to be our bigs and be like, all right, we're going to ride with you the whole game. And I feel like with Rob, we were able to do that. So I think that's that's the one thing that's holding us back from, winning a first round is the rebounding.
I feel I get what you're saying on that, A. You know what I mean? We lost a big man in Mitch Robinson. Key person to our team. You feel me? Key player. But I feel like in order for us to win a playoff series, at least this year, it's all about position. You feel me? I feel like everywhere right now, honestly, the Knicks have been down bad. We dropped all the way to like I believe the 8th or 7th seed. But if we're in a position, if we're the 4th or we're the 5th seed, and we play like a team like Charlotte, I'm not worried, especially without LaMelo. I'm not worried. If we play a team like, say, if Indiana gets in through the play-in, God forbid, if we're playing those boys and playing, you know what I mean? If they get in, I feel like we can run the table with an Indiana squad. So I feel like it's all about position. If we get into the 5th or the 4th seed, I'm happy. 8, 7, if we got to play like the Nets, so we got to play like Milwaukee, I'm not even too worried about Philly. But it's more of, you know what I mean? Milwaukee.
Not even with Embiid back. Are you
not
even
with Embiid
back?
back?
You got recency bias.
We still have a roster spot. I believe the Knicks will make a move and pick somebody up just to get bigger in the interior. That's it. You get what I'm saying? But I feel like it's all about position right now, and it's very close. It's very close right now.
And I think you make a key point right there. But like, we're in 8th place, but we're a game and a half back from 4th.
Yep. That's
so like we're right in the mix.
It's very close.
So I think that's a great point.
100%. We're right there. It's so close. And if we play Charlotte, especially with the injuries they've gone through, unfortunately, they're probably not getting a lot of these guys, or they're not getting everyone back for the playoffs. And someone bound to re-injure if they come back too quick, right? They have like how many guys out right now? 3 or 4 key players. So you get lucky with a draw like that, then hey, we can do anything. You hit the Pacers. Like you said, I'm honestly only really worried. I mean, we're not going to beat the Bucks in a series, most likely, but I would be. I wouldn't be like, I feel like we could win a game or two.
That's what I'm saying.
Like we could win a game or two against
like you say,
the Nets. We could win a game or two.
We got to punch his chance. We
got to punch his chance.
Like
this some 99 2000 era Knicks right here.
Yeah, if we're the 5 seed, and so happens if the Miami Heat slip to the 4th seed, I'm happy to go to Miami. And even though we didn't win a game this year versus Miami, I'm happy to go play Miami. You know what I mean? As to say the Nets, Milwaukee, or this Philadelphia 76ers.
And I think this just speaks to what Tibbs has developed, because offensively, we probably can't put up points like like the Nets do. But you know what we will do? We will get down and we will play some defense. And I think that's what's going to keep us in games. That's what's kept us in games. Come playoff time, that's going to be big. When it's half court offense and you need big stops. We have guys, they're rotating, communicating. RJ Barrett is a complete dog on defense. I watch this guy play defense every single night on the toughest shooting guard / small forward. And sometimes he might be getting fried, but you know what? He's expanding a lot of energy on that end, and he's still going and getting his buckets on the offensive end. So kudos to him. But I think just our defense in general, I think that's why we're confident in, even if we were to play the Miami Heat or the Boston Celtics or the Philadelphia 76ers.
Get out of here with the Celtics. We would crush the Celtics.
Exactly. We smoked them by 50 earlier this season.
4-2.
But I think that just shows the development that Tibbs is having, the culture change. And if you really look at it, we're a very young team. A playoff series for our young players is going to be astronomical, win or lose, because now they're like, oh, damn, we lost in the first round. Oh, damn, we won in the first round. Following season, okay, how can we build on this? So I think just overall making the playoffs is going to be such a boost for our young roster and the player development, and them understanding what it takes to get there and then what it takes to compete while in the playoffs. So I think it's a win-win as long as we make the playoffs.
Absolutely.
It's a step forward for sure. Like you said, you kind of want to see the team progressing towards something. We need to make the playoffs this year. Like New York Knicks front office team, like coming from the fans, the city of New York. I know there's a lot of teams talking about potentially, that are in that 8, 9 spot. 7 to 9 spot, talking about tanking. That is not us this year. That is
No.
not what we need to do at all.
And it's about damn time,
Yeah.
It's about damn time. It's just one thing I could, if I could talk to Coach Tibbs, I mean, something to do at practice to fine tune is to complaining to the refs late in games when things aren't going their way. It's too much, I'm getting tired of it. It plays a part in the game. And that, to me, that's why we're really not finishing. I'm seeing a lot of guys hanging their head, asking for calls, arguing over calls, asking for a replay, a challenge. Just let's play basketball at the end. Let's leave it all on the court.
Randall's been terrible with this, man. Randall has been.
Oh,
I know that a lot of guys on the Knicks and in the league have been bad, but I even though sometimes I agree with him, I cringe sometimes when I see him complain. And Abenz knows I'm a guy who likes to jaw with the refs a little bit back in my day. But you're an NBA player. You're 26 years old. You're getting paid millions and millions of dollars to play in the greatest city of the world. Like, and the call's just not going to change. Like, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever you say, like, unless you do get a replay, like, tell your coach. Like, if you really think, tell Tibbs, you need to review this. Then that's different. But without that reviewable call, it's getting really annoying, honestly. It's getting annoying to watch.
Even with the challenge we won yesterday, you know what I mean? We get the tip, we go out on the other end and we foul for and one, 3-point play. You know what I'm saying? Just play defense, play ball, play without fouling, move your feet. Stop complaining. It's beginning to get too much for me.
Absolutely. Well, excited about the Knicks. Last thing I'll say, John Henson. What do you guys think about that pickup to replace your boy? Well, not to replace Mitch, but to more so, I guess, be a
solidify
Taj and Nerlens, solidify that front court.
That just happened.
Did it happen
John Henson?
today? Did that happen today, or did that happen yesterday? Yeah, we got John Henson.
We got John Henson. Let's go. Yeah, what are you talking about, eh? We're going to be good on the interior now. We got John Henson.
Don't get too excited. I thought this would be a way less dramatic excitement. Maybe just like a little piece.
So go ahead, Matt. What you got to say?
If I didn't even know about this news. I've been working all day.
Oh, breaking news.
At least we got another big body that could fill the paint. John Henson is established in the league. All right. He's been on his good team. He's been on some semi-good teams. He played for Milwaukee. What other teams did he play for? But the man knows how to play basketball. All right. He found himself on a roster spot. All he needs to do is fill a void. And we need some bigs. I mean, be a defensive presence. Here and there, catch an alley. All right. I'm not a big believer in Norvell Powell. So why not John Henson? Great move. Great pickup.
So you know what I got to say, Matt. I'm a big Tar Heel fan, and if you know me, I know players that go through UNC, and John Henson is a UNC Tar Heel legend. So I definitely got to show love. Hey, I like the move. Harry G's, I know you're gonna agree with me on this. I don't expect him to give me 5 to 6 to 7 points a game, but I do expect him in his 10 to 12 minutes of play to give me a couple blocks, some hard fouls, and some good energy, some outlet passes, and just overall playing defense. He's a big guy. He's mobile. He's got big hands. So what I expect from him is just to fill that role, play his role. And I think Tibbs is going to put him in the right position to just be that guy. I don't need you to go out there and score 15. I don't even need you to take more than 3 shots a game unless they're lays or alley-oops. I need you to play defense, take charges, block the ball, and hit the outlets. As long as he does that for 10 to 12 minutes, where we could give our boy Taj, who I got to give a big shout out to, because I was a little hard on him in the beginning, playing solid basketball, running up and down the court and communicating, sets the best screens in the league by far. But that's the story for another day. So big shout out to him and Steals and our boy, the junkyard dog, Nerlens Noel. You can't dunk on this man. He's extendo man. Like, you're not getting past him. So as long as you could give those boys some rest, as long as John Henson could give those boys some rest, I love the pickup.
He's like that Nerlens is like the inflatable. What is that called? The inflatable man. that goes outside like a car dealership.
Oh yeah, bro. Nothing is getting past this man.
Nothing's getting by that guy.
He doesn't miss a beat.
Yo, man. But yeah, no, John Henson, like you said, I agree with that. Defensively, gonna be like honestly a worse version of Mitch defensively, but slightly, not crazy. And yeah, offensively, his numbers in the past just, speak for themselves. He's not the greatest offensive threat, but to your point, Abenz, I like that 10 to 12 minutes. I think it could work just for give him a little breather for Nerlens and Taj. All right.
And for a guy in foul trouble too. Just put that out there. I mean,
dude, honestly, put him in foul trouble. Like Abenz said, come in and get some hard fouls. Word. Bring some toughness to the defense.
Oh shoot, my thing just froze. I'm good. All right. Yeah, my thing just froze real quick because So boom. So your brother was that guy for us our junior year and our sophomore year when he got moved up to varsity. He was the glue. He was the guy that Materatona put in. He's like, yo, you're going in there for 5 minutes. I need you to rebound, play tough. If you got to foul someone, go into the rack, do it. And that's what your brother played at his sophomore year. That's how he became a starter. So I think that's what John Henson needs to do. He needs to just play that role. And Taj and Nerlens, they have some injuries. Maybe give one of those boys a night off and say, you know what, John, go out there and ball out for us. Help us win this game.
Yeah.
So great pickup, Knicks.
He needs to start watching some old tape of Ross at Hills West back, whenever 8 years ago. But yeah, no, excited for the Knicks, excited for the rest of the season. So, I said this in the beginning of the episode, and I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I'm a little concerned about, I don't know if concerned is the right word. A little bit worried about the NBA, a little bit frustrated with the lack of competitiveness. And I know we've had this slate of injuries that we've had to star players this past month or two, I think is unprecedented. I can't remember not being able to turn on to not be able to really turn on like a Clippers Lakers game because LeBron and AD are out and Drummond now too, who they picked up is out. We got injured guys like we talked about LaMelo a little bit. Steph has been out. The Warriors are, oh my God, they're a G League team without Steph. It's crazy. But also at the same time, you got March Madness coming this past month, just finished up. Men's and women's, much better quality, in my opinion, much more interesting to watch than the NBA the past month. And I don't know, it's just a little concerning. And the ratings the past couple of years speak for themselves. Ratings just continuously dropping, especially this time of the year. I'm wondering what you guys think about that, and if you think that there are any potential solutions out there to this drought. I feel like this is a drought that we're in right now.
Definitely a drought, and I think I've noticed it as well because I'm a big hoop fan. So like on Sundays, I'm looking at, all right, who's playing on ABC? As you mentioned, this past weekend we saw the Clippers and Lakers. I think I watched like 2 or 3 minutes of the game, and I think big part of it is definitely the injuries. The stars aren't there right now. As much as, we talk about Curry, we're forgetting about Klay Thompson. He's not playing in the league right now. LeBron's not playing. AD's not playing. KD's not playing. They say James Harden's out for the next 10 games or 10 days, whatever it is. Kyrie's been in and out of the Nets organization, not for health reasons, but for personal reasons. Out in Boston, we had the COVID. Those players were out for a while. Jason Tatum started off really strong. Then he kind of sizzled, and then he came back to earth. And I just think the injury bug has definitely played a role in this. But I think we really have to look at the fact that the NBA has been contemplating shrinking the season. Because I think it's just, especially this year, I know we have a 72-game season, but especially this year, man, coming straight off, the bubble, the championship that was in October, to just start playing 2.5 months later in December, I think that's played a major factor. And I just think the league's going to really have to look at we might actually have to shrink the season a little bit. I mean,
let me jump in there real quick, Abenz, and tell you, unfortunately, why that can't happen. Because I definitely agree with that point, and it's something that you immediately think about, right? Like you immediately think, why are we playing even 72 games? The reason we're playing exactly 72 games, unfortunately, is because based on the NBA's contract with media sponsors, they wouldn't meet the obligations of their contract if they didn't play a full 72 game season with their with the TV providers. So that means revenue in following years would take a massive hit, and honestly that would hurt the league, I think, a lot worse than the drought that we're talking about right now. You know, I heard a couple times, over a couple of different media outlets, potential for like a midseason tournament, something like that, to break it up instead of just the typical All-Star game. You take like even a month off and have like a March Madness style tournament or something like that. I don't know. I'm spitballing now, but I don't know. They need to figure something out, because if they really can't drop the number of games, because I think that's the optimal solution, then they got to figure something else out. Matt, what are you thinking about this right now? I know it's a kind of damper topic. It's not a great topic.
Great topic to me. To me, I just
not
feel
a fun
like
topic. Not
a fun topic to talk about. But I just feel like we're in that period, where boys are thinking towards the playoffs and trying to be at the best of their ability for the playoffs. I mean, injuries are part of the game. It's how you bounce back. So of course, going into I believe we had a good March. All right. I mean, for the Eastern conference, we had a good March. I mean, going into April, into the May, you want to gear up for the playoffs. So, I mean, if these boys are sitting out, if they're injured, it's time to get healthy. Of course, it's going to affect ratings, but people are still going to show out, and people are wanting to come to basketball games just because of the COVID situation and what happened last year when we had to stop, and fans not being able to come into the building, at the beginning of the year. So I feel, all right, TV ratings might go down, but at least the fan engagement in the stadiums and in the arenas is still there. You know what I'm saying? So let the drought go through, let the playoffs come by, and watch the hype. You get what I'm saying? Because when playoff basketball happens, everybody's around. There ain't no injuries, and you're playing through it. Am I right? Or am I right?
That's 100% right. No, the playoffs, when we get to playoff time, but that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, is there a solution for this middle
but
part
at the
of
same
season?
time,
because the playoffs are going to be, off the chain.
For sure. But like at the same time, I think we also, we're living in a historic time right now. We're going to be in the history books. Like our kids are going to be like, oh, so, what was the pandemic about? It's like, you hear about the Great Depression in the 1930s. I have no idea what happened, but I know it was the Great Depression because people couldn't eat. So, when you look at it like that, we're living through a time where the ratings aren't going to be there. Listen, if I can't be there as a fan, and there's a lot of like Utah Jazz, one of the best fan bases over there in Utah. Yeah, they get a little rowdy, but they sell out when their Jazz are playing there. Big name teams like LA, if Staples Center was open, the viewership would be astronomical right now. I mean, you're in LA. The Knicks are bowling. Imagine if the Garden was open. Like when we have close games come playoff time, I want the Garden to be open. You see what the Texas Rangers did yesterday for opening day. 43,000, 44,000 fans out there. So I think right now the time definitely is playing a role. But if you have the Garden jumping for some playoff basketball, you're going to tell me that RJ Barrett and them boys out there aren't going to ball out when they're hearing defense, or you just hear the crowd roaring? Come on now. So I think that plays a big role in it. But the easy solution, the simple solution is, I do agree with the tournament. I've heard about that. They've also mentioned the 16 best teams making it to the playoffs, eliminating the whole, conference, and just being the 16 best teams. And you have so top 20, 16 are in, and then you have a play-in for 2 extra teams with the extra 4 slots from each conference. I think that would make it more interesting, because some of these teams don't make the playoffs, and they should be making the playoffs. So it's more incentive. It just makes players work harder. Another thing that I think has really affected rating is load management. I'm going to say it. resting of players. KD hasn't played all season. Me and Matt were discussing this, and we're like, yo, he probably can go, but he's just making sure that he's good for the playoffs. And I just think for the fans, for the viewership, that's not good. You're
I
losing
absolutely
you're losing
agree.
A lot of
views.
things. Load management plays a part. Politics plays a part. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into politics, but there's some Americans out there that don't like to see unity on the court. There's some Americans out there that don't like to see Black Lives Matter on the court. You know what I mean, politics plays a big role in who views and who watches on TNT, Fox, or whatever you want to call it. Things like that. So
Yeah, man.
there's
You guys,
some ways we could figure it out. Maybe the play-in tournament, maybe 16 teams, but I like the West and the Eastern Conference.
yeah, man. I mean, both of you guys brought up great points, stuff that I didn't even, come in considering. Obviously, Black Lives Matter, unity on the court. I agree with you. It's definitely something that's been polarizing. And I've honestly had people say to me that they don't watch the NBA because they don't believe in some of that stuff
Yeah.
that I don't know very well. But hey, um, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion about stuff. And if they don't want to watch, they don't have to. Even though these guys, I'm talking about NBA fans. I'm talking about 90s, 80s,
Yeah.
90s basketball fans here. So that's part of it for sure. And to your point, Abenz, about the pandemic, I don't only think that people being at the Garden will affect the team, because I think it will. I think it'll affect viewership at home, and I don't think it's something people are thinking about. It's like, I think people are more excited to watch when they hear the roar of the crowd and the stands getting hyped up. Like it's a totally different viewing experience even over TV. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
there's definitely a couple things, couple issues. And hopefully, you're right. We're in a pandemic. Let's see what happens next year. I just feel like it's something I've noticed around this time with March Madness, baseball coming back, always the same time of year, right? We're talking about March here, like post All-Star break. People, for the past, like, my whole life, pretty much, people after the All-Star break are like, I don't even know why we have an All-Star break or All-Star game anyway. Like, most people don't even enjoy it. I do. I think the Elam ending is cool, but most people don't enjoy it, and then they don't enjoy the dunk contest as much these days. And then you kind of come out of this, and everyone's kind of tired, a little. Now you're talking about load management. People are getting ready for the playoffs. Throw in March Madness and baseball in there, and it's just kind of like, it's a cluster situation where there's just so much negative energy towards the league. That's my whole point about, like, bringing in something different for this time.
So I think just in general, with just how the world is moving, the NBA needs to get creative. I don't know who they have to hire, but I know the tournament in March, maybe have a tournament here and there. Okay, that's cool. But they just really need to get creative, especially like you brought up the All-Star game. You got to get a little more creative. There's got to be more juices flowing. It's got to be something that I'm like, yo, I got to stay home this weekend. I got to watch the All-Star break. So the creativity is just, I need to see that more from the league. I love what the league does. It gives the players a platform and a voice, and it supports its players unlike any other league that I've seen. So I think they definitely they got to get a little more creative. I would have to say that. Get a little more creative.
It's time to write a letter to her.
Talk to your PR people and, come up with some ideas, brainstorm some things.
Get Abenz in there. Creative specialist.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking about, though, and you can't do this unless you switch back the teams. I used to watch the MLB All-Star. I still watch the MLB All-Star game every year. They didn't have one this year. And I like that if the American League wins, the American League is the home team for the for the World Series. I think that something simple like that might drive up people, even if it drives up fans' viewership by 100,000, it's such a small change, right? It's such a small change that they could do. I think that's something simple, but they would have to go back then to the conference versus conference instead of the draft, which I honestly wouldn't mind. I don't really find it so interesting when, like, LeBron drafts Curry and everyone's like, ooh, like, is LeBron trying to, like, recruit Curry? Like, no, like, they're just
especially when KD
basketball. They're playing pickup basketball here. Come on.
Especially when KD was drafting. I don't want to watch that.
No,
So
yeah, that's nonsense. But yeah, man. I mean, they do donate their winnings to a good cause. Kind of was I forgot what the differential was this year. I think it was like, did LeBron's team win every quarter, or they won like 3 quarters to one? And it was like, so is this one charity like just not getting anything? Like what? Like I don't remember. I don't know if you guys watched the All-Star break, but the All-Star game.
Yeah,
But
so I believe LeBron's team did win all four, from what I can recall. But like there were still whatchamacallit, KD's team. They were what their cause was still awarded big money. So
I'm sure
they
they
didn't
did
they didn't get
something for
they
them.
didn't get the all the money, but they got some
Yeah.
money.
of
Yeah, what I'm
course.
saying is I think they do, it's a good, they do it for a good cause. Is ultimately what I'm saying. So no fault in the way they're doing things now. Hey, listen, Matt, awesome having you on, bro. This was great. This
Hey,
was super fun. I love just
yes,
kicking
sir.
back and talking the Knicks, and without Chris, we can just, you know, do that instead of having to worry about his Brooklyn Nets. We'll worry about that next time. Abenz, as always, thank you so much for joining. Great job, creative specialist of the NBA, future creative
Yes,
specialist.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, listen, bro. I'm telling you, I'm going to Hollywood soon, bro. It's really gonna happen. I keep speaking about it and I keep talking about it, and it's gonna happen. Could I do my weekly shout out?
Absolutely, wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, of course, of course. So my weekly shout out this week, it's gonna have to go to someone special, someone dear to my heart. I like to give a little special shout out to the guy right here. Let's Talk Sports host. You know, it's his birthday,
Hey,
the big 2-5. So just a little happy birthday shout out to him. Keep doing his thing out there on Let's Talk Sports. And we're definitely gonna have him on here a lot more, and we're just
Yes,
gonna keep
sir.
connecting, and we're gonna keep growing exponentially.
yeah, man.
Hey, I
Yo, Matt,
appreciate that, my brother.
happy birthday, bro. Before
Yes,
we
sir.
leave, where can we find you? What's coming up next for Let's Talk Sports?
Let's talk. We're gonna be in studio this weekend. All right, I got a very special guest pulling up. Gonna be talking a little bit of NFL. I got to touch on my Giants, so just stay tuned for that. Let's talk Sports 40 on Instagram. Y'all could go check that out. Really appreciate y'all boys for having me on True Bowlers podcast, and
Yes,
thanks for that
sir.
shout out.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Always
sir. Yes,
appreciate it,
sir.
my brother.
Absolutely. Till next time, bro.
Till next time.